Hello, Reliving the Extreme listeners. Just wanted to let you know before the show starts. When we recorded the show this week, there were a myriad of internet and audio issues. So just before we start the show, I want to apologize in advance for the shitty audio for this episode of Reliving the Extreme. That being said, enjoy the show. This week on Reliving the Extreme, we are discussing the episode of ECW from October 24th, 1995. Nate Maxon, your host, here with you, along with my brother.
Hello.
And Mr. Chad Austin is here as well.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We are doing. I'm kind of sick of the heat, but whatever. I guess it's better than ice.
What are you talking about? You guys send it to us, but you guys don't even. I don't think you guys even get it as bad as us. Do you?
It was 100 degrees here the other day.
Dude, it's been 100 degrees here.
And you probably have to deal with a lot more humidity than we do too because of the water.
Yeah, well, not recently. Recently because of the fires. You know, like our air quality is so bad down here that they're making us go inside every 15 minutes for 2 or 3 minutes just because we ain't got to stand outside. You know what I mean? And do stuff. And it's so bad you can see it. The skies are gray all day long. And
from the Canadian fires.
Yeah.
Well, we had that here. It's dissipated now, but yeah, I mean, here it was like that.
Oh no, we've had it. I mean, we got it now. We've had it. It just ain't going away. But I'm starting to think it's the big black cloud that's over my marriage or something. That's what I think it is.
Yeah, it's with the smoke thing. It's like people are telling the old people, "Hey, you got any of them COVID masks left? You might want to wear one of them COVID masks when you go outside."
Yeah, people still wear them things, dude. It's classic to me when I see them walking in to work, still wearing the mask. I'm waiting to see Mr. Wrestling 2 walk in wearing the mask. Damn. I mean, that shit's bad, dude.
The COVID mask and his tighty whities.
Dude, who would have thought the masked superstar would have been way ahead of his time?
or the medics.
Oh, dude, yeah, you're right. They were the medics were probably the first team. I'm trying to think, was there was a team maybe before them, or were they the first ones to wear the masks?
I think interns? I think they were the first team.
The medics or the interns?
The medics.
Are you sure? I think it might have been the interns.
Yeah, they were probably interns before they were medics. That's kind of how the chain works.
Yeah. They didn't have a tag team. We're not arguing about the apprentices. The understudies.
Pre-meds.
Yeah, we're not arguing about them.
The interns have got their license now, so they are now the medics. There's the gimmick change right there.
That always bugs me when somebody's like, "Oh," that always bugs me when somebody's like, "Oh, I'm going to college." Be like, "What are you studying?" Pre-med. It's like, well, anybody that's not a doctor is pre-med.
I'm pre-med. Yeah, we're all pre-med. We've never done it before. Yeah, that's my great grandmom. She's pre-med, but she's pre-medicine. That's how old she is. But pre-med, you're right. We're all pre-med. And nobody announces themselves as post-med. Have you ever seen that? Yeah, I'm post-med. Are you a doctor? Well, I'm post-med.
That's funny, the pre-med thing. I was watching one of those Comedy Central roasts today, and one of the people on the dais was Larry King. And I forget who did the joke. I think it might have been Jeff Ross, but he goes, Larry King, and this is obviously when Larry King was still alive. It's from 2011. But he's like, Larry King is so old. The first Jewish uprising he covered, he interviewed Moses.
Yeah. How'd that get over with that crowd of kosher eating people?
So, no,
remember when Letterman used to be like, this episode is sponsored by Larry King. He kind of look like a hoot owl.
He kind of look like a hoot owl.
Never seen one episode of David Letterman.
Another person said, Larry King's so old, those suspenders aren't holding up his pants. They're holding up his balls.
Oh, that's a Jerry Lawler.
Well, before we get into the ECW show, I'd be remiss if we didn't discuss, as we're recording today, actually, on the 31st of July, we have learned of the passing of Adrian Street. He was 82 years old, passed away, I think, either yesterday or this morning.
Too soon.
I read in the article that he had just recently had brain surgery, so I don't know if he had cancer or what was going on there, but you guys,
I'm sure he probably had cancer.
Thoughts on Adrian Street and his long, illustrious career?
As far as the talent goes, like, who is more, and this is not, don't take this even in a derogatory way, who is mid-card better than Adrian Street? You know, he could headline Memphis B shows, and he could headline for Bill Watts. You know, the only problem was he was just a smaller guy, like, you know, and Lawler was the one that took the most advantage of him, right? As far as his character, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, Gilbert took whatever he had left.
And the thing about him was he was the smaller guy, but he also had that gimmick where people would want to fight him. And if he was in a bar and somebody legitimately wanted to fight Adrian Street, he was going to fuck him up.
Dude, I heard stories from Dundee about how bad of a guy, and Dundee I consider is a bad dude. You know, I always consider Dundee as a bad dude, but he was telling me about how, because Adrian used to be like that, the way that he was, that portrayed himself. He was like that way before wrestling. So, you know, you figure when you're that old, you know, you're back then in that era, and you're at a bar or whatever, and you walk in there, you're like Adrian Street, you know. Yeah, you're probably gonna be a pretty tough guy.
And I'm not gonna pretend to know a lot about his, like, Continental and all that shit. You know, like I don't know the entire history of his career. I know watching matches, watching promos and shit that I like. I'm not gonna be like saying I'm a historian of him or whatever, but he was a dude that owned his fucking gimmick, and
he lived
did fantastic with it. And one of my favorite things in wrestling is, like, wrestling music. His fucking, like,
Imagine What I Could Do to You.
Imagine What I Could Do to You, and Mighty Big Girl for Her Age and all that shit. That's like the best fucking wrestling, like, novelty wrestling music out there. It's fucking great shit. Like, I listen to street rap like once a week, and I know all the fucking words, and it just cracks me up. Like, that dude owned his fucking gimmick, and it just amazes me that he wasn't a bigger star than he was.
He was actually old when you thought that he was a star. Like, when he got his big push in Continental, when he moved to Pensacola. And then he started making ringwear, because he made all my ringwear. And he made, what's that?
Go ahead.
Oh, he made all my ring gear. And he did boots too. He did everything. So, like, when I went down there, and like literally my buddy, who was my handler, he took me down there, and instead of me, like, having anything made, I just went through, like, his like closet of mistakes. You know, like, where people ordered stuff, you know, like the Caribbean print. That wasn't mine. That was somebody else's mistake. You know, so I went through his closet and he was like, "I'll just take it," because he didn't know what to do with it, so he's gonna get rid of it anyway. But yeah, man, that dude's cool, man. Like he was really really a cool dude, and he gave me like a whole box full of stuff. Like when I left, I still have his T-shirts, and they're all like mediums. He gave me his like independent intermission like gimmick tableware box. And it was all a bunch of T-shirts. I still have them, and it's a box of Adrian Street's like medium T-shirts. But that guy was great because he could work like with Law would bring him in. In that time period, that gimmick, that was tailor made for the Southeast.
That's what I was gonna say. One of the greatest things ever is watching Adrian Street get plunked down in fucking Alabama. Like, oh, that's the perfect place for that gimmick.
Yeah, it was a perfect place for that gimmick, and it was a perfect place for where he lived. He probably didn't even drive 2 hours like every day to all them towns and stuff. Dude, that to me is like not to step aside from Adrian Street, but that Southeastern territory. Could you imagine if you were a worker in that time and you worked that territory, how easy it was? You were home every night. The longest drive you had was Birmingham or something. Fuck.
It's definitely not Mid-South, that's for sure.
I just remember the first time I seen him, and like I said, I'm younger than both of you guys, but like the first time I saw him, it wasn't on like TV, it was on video, and it was because I was like 13 years old and at a video connection, and Grunt the Wrestling movie was on the fucking shelf. I'm like, oh, I want to rent that, and I watched that, and he was on it, and I'm like, now I'm upset. I gotta find out everything I can about him because he was great in that fucking movie, and
he had a ton of heat in Florida. When he came in Florida in like I want to say, I don't know, 83 probably, because it was probably when he was still working for Crockett, so he was probably going back and forth. But in Florida, dude, that dude had a ton of heat because these Florida guy, what the fuck? You know what I mean? It's like how the kind of heat like Dalton Castle
fit in Florida now,
like a spring break. What's that?
I said he'd fit in Florida now. He'd just be regular. They wouldn't even look twice at him. But that dude.
Can you imagine Adrian Street on the Jersey Shore? He'd fit right on in, man, right?
That dude built a gimmick, lived it, and there's just not enough you can say.
No, I mean, there's a lot that nobody knows about him, and I was glad that when I met him, and he took me in, like that girl Linda, really was like his kind of like, hey Linda, why don't you go grab me? And I can't do it in a Wales accent. Why don't you go grab me that box of like stuff? And she's like, yes, sir. And she still wore the outfit. Even at their house. That little cat suit thing. You know what I mean? Like, she still wore that. Like, she really was like his wife. But I have no idea how their relationship go in Wales.
Did one more question about him. The only time that I can say that I don't want to say I didn't like him. I for some reason to me he never worked as a babyface. What do you think, Chad? Like when the few times that they'd have him work as a babyface, it just never worked for me.
Yeah, he did. He worked like he always came back as a babyface. When he worked Florida, he came in as a heel. And he would go away for 2 or 3 months, and then he would come back again as a babyface. But then he would also be lowered to the mid card, like the junior heavyweight thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to see him all the time in Knoxville when he worked for Fuller. When Fuller ran Knoxville, he was always up there, and I was always wondering what the hell he's still doing up here. Like. How have you been up here all this time? Like, Unless you're just driving like 16 more hours back, to where you live, Pensacola.
Well, we say rest in peace, Adrian Street. Lost another great one there.
Well,
so
I wouldn't necessarily say great, but very good one.
I do have a question from one of our listeners. If you guys would like to answer a question, well, actually, he has a couple questions. All right,
is that a real question, or are you making it up?
No, it's a real question from Ryan Evans. Thank you for emailing us, Ryan. And if you have a question, everybody, you can email us at relivingtheextreme@gmail.com. Hello, my name's Ryan. I listen to your guys' show. Really enjoy it. Y'all make me laugh each time. You were also funny covering ECW 93. So I get to a few questions. One, do you guys plan to cover an old promotion after you do another old promotion after you do ECW? Well, Ryan, I'm sure at least one of us will be dead by the time we're done covering ECW.
Yeah, Ryan, great question, because I legitimately thought about that like a while ago. Like, what are we going to do after this? And then I thought, wait a minute, we're not even in the fucking 96 yet. We still got a few more years. But afterwards, I wouldn't mind doing like a Music City.
Well, and I will say this, I do want to, and it's just honestly, folks, it's just a matter of coordinating with our schedules and work schedules and stuff. But I do want to, for the Patreon page, I'd love to start doing some more like territorial, just veer off of ECW for the Patreon, and maybe we can just fucking critique an episode of World Class when it's on its last legs, or because nothing's better than watching a dying wrestling promotion.
Of course, Ozark Mountain.
After this, we'll just watch random shit and make fun of it. We'll become the MST of fucking shitty wrestling.
5-star wrestling.
Oof.
That's the best.
That Savoldi thing's up now.
What's that?
That Savoldi thing's up. That Savoldi fucking app is up
ICW?
now. It's got a bunch of ICCW on it and everything. They got UWF on there. They got all kinds of like crappy shit.
Just crappy shit.
I watched Taz and Tommy Dreamer have a match in a fucking train station on that app the other day.
Well, I mean, I don't know what your problem is. I mean, I want to talk to somebody about that. I'm already going through that. I'm already going through a different kind of intervention. But you need to stay away from Tommy Dreamer and Taz.
Is this guy's name Adam Butt Stuff? Is that his name?
You got it completely fucking wrong. It's Ryan Evans, and thanks for listening, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Ryan.
Ryan posts sometimes on the page, man. Ryan's a good fan.
Ryan Evans. Yes, we'll find after ECW closes. We'll find random shit to.
And like I said, if you guys, if once in a while we can do that for the Patreon. We can do that for the Patreon, even if we're not watching it, or if we are still watching ECW, we can do Patreon shit.
We'll change the name to Rewatching the Random Shit.
It's a terrible name.
Rewatching the shits.
But Ryan does have another question here, because he said it was hilarious listening to us watch ECW 93. What's worse, WWF 95 or ECW 93? And then he follows up with, love your show, guys. Keep up the good work. WWF 95 or ECW 93, what's worse?
Go ahead, Aaron.
I know we're watching ECW, but I'd have to say ECW 93.
I agree, and here's the only reason I'd say I agree is WWF 95 is ridiculous because you have, wrestling pirates and wrestling dentists and, et cetera, et cetera. However, yes, it was Jean-Pierre Lafitte, the pirate, versus Bret the Hitman Hart, but it was still Carl Ouellette versus Bret Hart, and it's still a really good match. So I can get past the shitty gimmicks to watch the good wrestling.
Yeah, we didn't have to watch fucking
Wolfman.
Wolfman and fucking Johnny Hotbody versus the Super D's in a 4-foot ring.
I don't know. Damn. I don't think that goes. I don't think that really goes without question. WWE like 1995 is. I mean, you know, you every once in a while you still got something. You know, some sort of an angle. ECW 93. You got Sal Balomo.
It's Cabrini. It's Cabrini, baby.
Yeah, dude.
You got Chris Michaels pretending to be Bullwinkle.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
See, I will never forget about Chris Michaels doing Bullwinkle. There's nights I wake up in a cold sweat.
That poor guy that sent that question in, he needs to go back and actually watch 93.
Hey, don't just listen to us. Just watch.
Yeah. I mean, you can always answer your own question right there. Just go back and watch it.
Balomo's boots.
All of it. The poor production, the Super Destroyer, Stevie Wonderful. I mean, the fucking the shitty ring, the no people. The list goes on.
The Variety Club.
Of course. Sandman sitting there with a yeah,
Boogie
one
board.
Of them. Yeah. And one of them.
Gigantic surfboard. Yes.
That's right.
Highlight of ECW 93 is watching Sandman try to ride the fucking surfboard into the ring. It's one of the funniest fucking things.
That means ECW TV in 93 was awful. Pretty much. Yeah, it wasn't good. But dude, it was what it was. You know? There was what other small independent company was even attempt, well, a lot of them were, but they were even on smaller platforms than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you had Deep South, you know, Memphis was, you know, you had to be on some really bullshit. It is. You know, you had to have a satellite, one of the big dishes at your house to get, you know. So it was a limited thing. So I have no reason to believe why ECW didn't do good on that network. Hey, what's up, Kai?
All right. Well, thank you, Ryan, for your question. And if anybody has any other questions for us, again, you can email us, relivingtheextreme@gmail.com. I appreciate anybody that has sent in questions as time goes on. We appreciate the interaction with our listeners. Lets us know.
Yeah, and you can edit out me making fun of his name or forgetting his name.
The Spangali?
Now we'll get into this ECW episode, October 24th, 1995. We start the show off with the Public Enemy coming out to the ring. The crowd doing the wave hand thing with the Public Enemy to the shitty music that WWE Network has on there.
Yeah, it was pretty good editing, I guess, because that could have been how that could have been any time. It came out and just started waving their hands. You know, I mean, honestly, I looked at them to see if they were beat up. Just to see if they just didn't edit in some other random when they ran in and chased everybody out and just got that shot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, it was cool, man. And the crowd loved it. It was what it was. It's the house party, man.
And it's supposed to be a three-way match. The Public Enemy, the Gangstas, and Raven and Richards. The Gangstas come out and start beating down the Public Enemy to start it out. And then the two teams brawl for quite some time with no Raven and no Richards. And again, like I say, sometimes you get to the point where you just can't take notes because there's too much going on.
Well, that necessarily wasn't a bad thing if you were there in the arena. If you were there live, which I was, and it's just like the crowd's like all over the place. It's like going to a big music festival, and I'm talking about pound for pound here. ECW arena opposed to a music festival, and then all of a sudden you have like some band like, I don't know, just pick a band, Megadeth, playing on a side stage. You're gonna see everybody just roll over one side, and that's what they did. Just go out there and brawl and do all that shit and just get the crowd. You know, it looks great for TV. That's probably what it was. You know, Paul probably wanted some fucking footage for TV. I mean,
like I say all the time on the show too. We're watching something that happened X amount of years ago. At this time, the way that ECW was presenting their television was kind of sort of unlike anything you'd ever seen before. And I'm not trying to take away from, like, you know, stuff that you'd seen in Memphis, but just it's different. You know, it's different than the other products that were on TV. It was striking at that time.
Of course it is. I mean, I went to so many different states, like down south and stuff. People were like, man, ECW stuff. Yeah, that's real. Yeah, that's real. I mean, it's pretty much as real as it's going to get. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then people believed it, man. They believed it.
And it's also like Public Enemy and the Gangsters have beaten the shit out of each other. And I've heard like Raven in shoot interviews talking about putting matches together, like talking about working with Sandman. And he's like, working with Sandman was great because I was like, I'll go out there and then Sandman will fall off some shit and then he'll fall off some more shit and then fall off something else and then I'll pin him. So if it was Scotty putting together the match, like, he's like, oh, I'll let these guys beat the shit out of each other and then we'll just show up later and not have anything happen to me. Like, I'm like, Raven does no bumps in this match.
I know. I mean, I've known Raven long enough to believe that 100%. Yeah, he's booking that match that they're doing all that shit. But at the end of the match, you're somehow going to remember Raven.
And he's convincing them as he's putting it together that it's all about them.
Yeah.
Look how you're gonna get to shine.
yeah, kid. I mean, you're taking a big bump. You know, everybody's gonna love it. ECW chanting on, and you know, yeah. I know. I've heard that song before.
Rocco took that. Was it Rocco that took that insane bump where he was supposed to go fucking 2 tables off the Eagles nest and he only hit like half a table? Was that Rocco?
Yeah. Yeah, because I had that written down. I had that written down. That's fucking ugly.
That bump was fucking nasty.
Dude, it's hard. I don't understand. I mean, I don't even think I could do it. You know, and I'm not Ricochet by any means, but anytime I ever looked at any of them big spots, I'm pretty accurate at how to do it. I don't think there is a good way to actually execute that spot unless that stage was out another 6, 8 feet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to jump up. You're not going to jump up and just turn around in midair and expect to go through like these 2 tables like they are. It doesn't work that way. But, good try, I guess. Sure.
Well, Raven and Richards finally do show up as the Public Enemy eliminates the Gangsters out of this match. And the Joey essentially says, all right, so now the thing's over between the Public Enemy and the Gangsters. So apparently this was where they're trying to put the bow on that. Because he says it definitively. The Public Enemy's eliminated the Gangsters, so this is over. But
so who's leaving here?
The Public Enemy or the Gangsters are eliminated by Public Enemy. I'm getting a little reverb back, sorry.
But they don't leave though, do they? Yeah,
because we roll into the spot with the tables stacked and set on fire, and
they don't leave the promotion.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
I was just mentioning. Joey mentioned during commentary on the match that because the Public Enemy eliminated the Gangsters from this match, their feud is over. So I was like, okay, I guess they want to put a button on this shit because they're just like, it's over now, and we're just letting you know. That's
cool though. I mean, a lot of times you don't have to say that. You can always just do an angle where you start another feud.
Right.
But Joey's just like, nah, man, it's done.
It's over.
Thanks for coming.
That's enough. Yeah.
Yeah. But one of you teams are going back to, going back.
Somebody's gonna start working the pit bulls now.
If they're even still there.
So now we get a spot where there are 3 tables stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, it had to have been.
And this is where we get tables on fire. Rocco Rock puts Stevie Richards through the flaming tables for the pin, and Public Enemy win the tag team titles back. And this is not discrediting the talent at all, but I did notice that the fire was out before anything. Anybody actually came in contact. It was just lighter fluid fire anyway.
Yeah, that's a joke. Yeah, that's not gonna get you. That's not gonna get you anywhere. You can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't burn fast enough to look as effective, I guess.
Yeah, you have to put somebody through timber. You know, like not through the fire itself. You know, you have to wait till you put like we can do a campfire, and you get the fire going. You know, that flaming table shit. It's such a work.
Did you ever do that?
No, fucking no chance. I'm doing that. Although I think I may have, honestly. Yeah, I think I was in a match that had it, but I don't know if I actually took it.
You went with the Raven strategy. You know, you got to be there, but you didn't have to actually take the bump.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, kid, because I'm sure if I was involved in any of that situation, that I would have just convinced somebody else to do it anyway.
You're all they're going to be talking about tomorrow, kid.
Yeah, way before YouTube, you're gonna be a web TV star.
Well, up next, like I said, Public Enemy win the titles in this matchup, and then after that, we get Joey Styles doing an interview with Stevie Richards, who is discussing his next match coming up with Johnny Grunge this Saturday at the ECW Arena, where if Grunge beats, or the loser has to wear a dress of it.
Stupid.
And then Johnny Grunge cuts a stupid promo, and he essentially like allude. I didn't write down the words he uses, but the way he goes through the promo, he's pretty much just insinuating that he's going to put Stevie Richards in the dress and then rape him. Because he's like, I'm going to treat you the way I treated that dude in the jail last time I was in jail. And I was like, oh, so Johnny Grunge is going to rape Stevie Richards. Come to the ECW Arena this Saturday, everyone.
I literally just wrote, so Grunge is gay. Yeah. I mean, he's talking about raping guys and everything. You know, send me to jail as long as you want. I don't think I'm going to have sex with a guy. That's okay, buddy. You know.
But this whole thing is long and annoying. It's essentially a segment of they go
kind of like being raped by Johnny Grunge.
It's long and annoying.
Long and annoying. Yes.
Yeah, it went on way too long. And I even think, Jesus. Why would anybody in ECW Arena want to see Johnny Grunge wear a dress? And like, how humiliating would that be anyway? You know what I mean? For Johnny Grunge, big deal. So what? You got paid to do it. That humiliation went out with Adrian Street.
The two women in the fucking building.
Like that angle. You know what I'm saying?
What'd you say, Aaron?
I just said, like, the two women that are in the ECW Arena probably look like Johnny Grunge in a fucking dress. So it's nothing I've never seen.
They weren't women. What's the matter with you?
But yeah, we get this long, drawn-out thing where we go back and forth. There's promos from Stevie, promos from Johnny, and then Jason gets involved and wants to wear the dress if Stevie loses instead. This is all really stupid. The only good thing about it is this is, we start getting Joey Styles getting the hives with Jason around. Joey Styles starts doing the scratching, which I always thought was a fun gimmick. But other than that, this is long and drawn out and stupid.
Yep, agreed, totally.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Aaron, for your insight. Now
This
we
is some
get
Jeff Harmon shit.
yep. Now we get Too Cold. We're getting a wrap up of what's been going on between Too Cold Scorpio and Rocco Rock, which I don't think we've seen any of this on the TV show, but they're recapping it for us anyway. They show Rocco wrestling Too Cold in Chicago, and Rocco pins Too Cold. And then Too Cold confronts the Public Enemy in the locker room this Saturday for the title. It's going to be Rocco Rock and Too Cold Scorpio. So I guess my only really question about this, Chad, is in Chicago at this time, where would ECW have been running? What building do you know?
That same place they always run. That not the UIW Pavilion, the amphitheater place.
Okay.
That it's like 2,500 seats or like 3,000 seats. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't work out there. I didn't go out to Chicago for that shit because there's only like one date, and Paul wasn't paying for flights, so I wasn't going out there. But yeah, they were running that like not the pavilion. It was like the amphitheater place, or the Opium. Like it's even a smaller place, kind of thing, out there. You know, that's more of a 2,000 seat arena.
Right.
But I mean, didn't Joey Styles announce where they were running that?
No, it just he narrated what was in the match, but the only reason I knew it was in Chicago is because the little the Krylon underneath said Chicago, Illinois, and then last Saturday or whatever. So he never actually even said Chicago.
Yeah, that could have been just a fucking work anyway. It could have been, you know, I mean, Middletown, New York.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. They might have been in Middletown.
It could have been. It could have. That could have been anywhere.
Well, now we get Sandman to the ring for a match with Mikey Whipwreck, but Steve Austin comes down, and this is there's a lot going on here, but it's fun stuff. Steve Austin comes down and cuts a good Steve Austin promo on Sandman and Mikey. Essentially, the gist is you guys both suck. I'm a superstar. ECW sucks, but I'm going to win the title from the winner of this match. And then Sandman canes Austin. They break out in a fight. The locker room empties to break them up. And then a random fight starts between the Sandman and Conan. Here's Conan. And all of this is even before the match starts. So
there was no match, was there?
Oh no, they have a match. There's also a match after this entire drama that they got going on here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, it was a big like I wrote it down as a big brawl. I didn't really know there was a match.
Well,
I just thought it was a big brawl, which I didn't mind, and I'm sure the people in the crowd didn't mind either.
In your defense, they didn't show much of the actual match, so as you're watching it, you may not have even caught that they ever rung the bell. But
what I'll say is a good psychology aspect of it is Sandman's feuding with Mikey, and Mikey's trying to win the championship, and Sandman's saying, "Oh, Mikey can't beat me. Mikey can't beat me." And obviously, Mikey doesn't beat him tonight, but Sandman, after the match, is upset because Mikey got a lot of advantage on him. So Sandman's character is able to say, "Well, the reason, even though I won, the reason it took me so long to beat Mikey is because I just got into 2 fights before the match even started."
I kind of looked at it a little differently. I kind of looked at it was an endorsement for Mikey. You know, I mean, Sandman's, "Oh, I'm a fighter. I'll fight anybody, whatever." But dude, this little donkey just put him through like a war, and I thought it was a Sandman's endorsement on Mikey. But maybe you're right. I don't know. You know, I only worked there. But you could be right.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, after the match, like, Sandman's pissed because it took him so long to beat him. And I'll say the fucking MVP of the night was fucking Jim Molyneux. Like, he took like 2 pretty stiff ladder shots.
MVP
Ladder
was
shots after the fucking
Jamano.
match. Not like when the match ended, fucking Sandman hit him like 2 times with that fucking ladder. That's pretty stiff.
I mean, if you're going to, the ring announcer, the referee he's double tough in ECW. You really got to bounce them, man. You just can't hit him. You can't, just back him into the buckle and they just crumble like, made out of house of cards or anything. Like WWE people. These are ECW guys. They're at Dunkin' Donuts at 7:30 in the morning.
They're like, Jack Doan's a pussy.
Pretty much.
Well, yeah, like Aaron alluded to, the Steve Austin winds up bringing a ladder to the ring as Sandman and Mikey are having their match. So then the ladder comes into play as a weapon. And this is to set up, obviously, that this Saturday at the ECW Arena, it's going to be the Sandman and Mikey in a ladder match.
I'm pretty sure I don't know if I was there.
I'm looking forward to this fucking. I'm looking forward to this fucking match because this is the match coming up. Not to spoil anything.
It's a great match.
I think this is the match. I think this is the match where Steve climbs the ladder before the match and cuts the promo where he's like, "I was never allowed to climb a ladder like this in WCW." There's a fucking great promo coming up when we get to this fucking match. Yeah, like Nate, I don't really.
The amount of time that Steve was there, then that he cut a million promos, and they were all after that, match. So yeah, there's probably a ton of great promos that we'll never even see. Probably.
The promo I'm talking about happens during the fucking match, and Nate, I don't tell you to isolate a lot of fucking sound for this show, but this is one that you got to find it because Steve is about to cut one of the greatest fucking promos in the history of wrestling on this next fucking episode we're gonna watch. It's gonna be fucking great.
Well,
I'm glad you loved it.
We will we will have that audio for you by request from Aaron on the next episode of the show. I can definitely do that. Like I said, now we're set up for that ladder match. Sandman and Mikey coming up at the ECW Arena. Sandman cuts a promo. And then we get Joey Styles interviewing JT Smith, who is obviously now saying Paisan, acting Italian. What a goof.
I don't know what he fucking said.
I don't.
He just made noises. He just made noises out of his mouth hole. Like when I watched
JT Smith shit.
When I watched this, I was like, could you imagine if they would have thought, hey, let's make JT Smith and Too Cold Scorpio a tag team?
Who's worse? Who's worse on the mic?
Yeah, just for the promos.
JT Smith, Too Cold Scorpio, or Ahmed Johnson? Who's worst on the mic?
Well, I don't know, but their group could be the
Probably
Nation of Abomination.
Nation of abolition. Abortion nation.
The nation of lack of tillation.
My kids I don't acknowledge. That's probably what it is.
The nation of lack
it's the nation of the kids I don't acknowledge.
The nation of the lack of iteration. Yes. Either way.
Education.
And lack of education.
The nation of lack of education. Yeah, there you go. There you
are. All right. So now
Ahmed Johnson.
So now we are ending the show with, I think this is the first official Pulp Fiction. They've done a couple little things.
Oh, it is. That's where I woke up and
they did a
came out of my nap, and I'm like, this is the first in my knowledge. This is the first actual Pulp Fiction where they're using the music and doing the thing.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't know where we ran prior to this show airing, but I was at it wasn't in Montgomeryville. It was in another like rodeo arena, that Paul had everybody hang out after the show and watch the like the new show, much like when he had the new open. And he did the same. I think it was at that stupid, like that little round hotel in Philadelphia. Like Paul had like a little room where we all went in there and watched the new opening, and he did all that. He filmed all the Pulp Fiction stuff, and then basically he pretty much did it, he edited it all in the room, like, you know, did it all right there. But yeah, I was there for that shit, and I never heard the Pulp Fiction music. I had no idea. It was always like, all right, Bubba, cut, or whoever it was, Dreamer cut, you know, a promo. And I'm just going to snip it up and put it to music. Nobody saw that coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until it aired on TV, you're like, what the hell is this Pulp Fiction?
Do you think Dick Dale ever got paid for that?
Was he even alive then?
Did you think Dick Dale's estate ever got paid for that?
No, they got dicked.
Well, this was the I'm not saying he did or didn't. I don't know, but this was the beginning of when they started doing the David Geffen stuff, right?
Yeah, it's not too far. If not, this is the beginning. So maybe.
You know, like right after the show, they would have like whatever producers or, you know, production shit or whatever music, you know, provided by.
So I'm just gonna.
Who knows at that point?
I'm gonna run through this really quick, and then when I'm done running through this, we can comment on any comments we have. This Pulp Fiction included a promo from the Dudleys, the Steiners, the Eliminators, Tommy Dreamer, Eula McGillicuddy, Bubba Dudley, McFoley on Terry Funk returning to ECW. Then we get Terry Funk, Joey Styles talking about Beulah's Box. We get Fonzie.
That
we
was
get
cool,
Todd
though,
Gordon.
right?
Yeah. We get Steve Austin, Sam Man and Woman, Mikey, Conan and Rey Mysterio. Here's all the ECW stars, and then it rounds out with Funk with the flaming branding iron. Cactus Jack spitting as he's talking about Dory Sr. and Dory Jr. and all of Terry's family. We get a Raven promo. And then Tommy Dreamer ends the show by being dramatic and emo. But I don't know if you guys have any specific notes on any of those specific promos.
I really liked Terry's shit on it. Like, when I say Terry shit, like, I don't mean like shit. Like, I mean like, it was like he got that flaming branding iron so close to his fucking face.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know he knew how to gimmick it. You know what I mean? But it looked like he was kissing a fucking flaming branding iron.
Yeah,
it was so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's a fantastic visual. I really like, and I joked, I said Lemonhead, but I really enjoyed Cactus's part two. You know, because shitting on the Funk family.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, how do I say it? Like, he's shitting on the Funk family or whatever.
The Funk family?
Yeah, Cactus shit on the Funk family in the Pulp Fiction thing, but you know Terry was probably like, "Oh man,
yeah, give it to my dad to spit and talk shit about my pop." That's how you do business
right there, dude. You know what I mean? What more do you need?
Exactly. That's how you do business. Then, like I said,
seriously,
at the end of the whole thing,
if I was in a program with a guy right now that I knew I could do good business with, I would allow him to bring up like my marriage kind of thing. I would allow him to do that if I knew we were gonna do money. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't. Fuck it. Everybody knows what's going on, so just bring it up. I don't give a shit.
Exactly. I mean,
yeah,
hey,
good stuff.
And Cactus was willing to bring up Kane Dewey. You know, everything's off limits when you're trying to get heat. Do it. Use it. And then, like I said, at the end of the Pulp Fiction thing here, we get Tommy Dreamer. Put upon Tommy, as Aaron has coined the gimmick.
Yeah, put upon Tommy.
Tommy Dreamer is ending the Pulp Fiction of the show with his dramatic what the fuck ever.
As a kid, I thought Tommy was awesome, but 40-year-old me is like, Tommy's an asshole. He's trash. He's the fucking heel in this situation.
I kind of never liked him. Like, never did. I never got it. Maybe it's me.
Well, that's
But
a
as
wrap.
kid,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying, as a kid, I was like, oh, Tommy Dreamer's awesome. But the older I've gotten, it's like, man, if you look at the story back in fucking summer camp, oh, this chick's fat. I don't want anything to do with her. And then she shows up and she's wrestling pretty. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna drop her on her head. It's like, you were an asshole, dude.
And she's pregnant.
Yeah. I'm gonna knock her up and I'm just gonna fucking hit her with a street sign. It's like,
It
you're
was
a fucking
probably
dick,
Bill
Tommy.
Alfonso's baby anyway. Like, nobody really knows.
It wasn't born with any teeth, so it probably was.
I'm not even sure it was born.
Well, we're going to put a wrap on this edition of the show.
What, abortion's a touchy subject? Can't
No,
talk about that?
it's not that. I'm annoyed with whatever's going on with the internet connection on this show. So I'm like, I want to end this. But
I don't blame
overall, this episode of ECW was good. And like you said at the beginning, Chad, from the minute it started to the minute it ended, something was going on. And, you know, the shit with Stevie Richards and Johnny Grunge was stupid. But other than that, I mean, again, there's always something going on. Everybody's got a story. And it's a fun show to watch.
Solid C.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's not boring. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't feel like it drugged.
Yep.
I agree. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll have this episode will go up probably tomorrow. We're going to do another episode to catch up since because of me, we didn't get to do an episode last week. So we'll have our episode on Friday as well. But Aaron, Chad, thank you for joining me. Sure.
I have a show to do tomorrow. I don't know what the guy's name is. Sorry. But I'll make sure to put us over.
All right. Sounds good. Aaron, Chad, thank you for joining me. Listeners, thank you for joining us. Again, just to wrap it up, you can check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/reliving the extreme. Shoot us an email, relivingtheextreme@gmail.com. We appreciate when we get questions from the listeners. Thank you, Ryan, for sending that question this week. We will talk to you later in the week when we're doing October 31st, 1995. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ryan.